Yoshinobu had his first bad start of the season on the same night the Dodgers hitters had terrible luck. Great timing, guys.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Dodger fans, this is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks to our everydayers for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen, and thanks to those of you who are with me live here on Thursday evening. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. So please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. If this is your first time with us, my name is Jeff Snider. My normal co-host is Vince Samperio, although it's just me tonight. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans, just like most of you. We've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room, so we bring you the smart fans' perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. This episode is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox, no console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. The Dodgers lost to the Diamondbacks, and it was a combination of the offense having some pretty darn bad luck, which I'll talk about in the second segment, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto's first bad start of the season, the first bad start in a long, long time, which I'll talk about in a second. Also, in the third segment, I'm going to dig into Michael Kopech's first rehab outing in Oklahoma City that did not go well. But let's talk Yamamoto first, because Yoshinobu Yamamoto, there's no two ways about it. It was a bad start for him. He went 5 innings, 6 hits, plus a walk, 5 earned runs allowed. And, his ERA doubled. It literally doubled. Went from 0.9 to 1.8. Hashtag math, baby. It was a clunker. It wasn't as bad as his clunker in Korea last year, his first big league start against the Padres, because he made it through 5 innings. And honestly, Jack Dreyer giving the Dodgers 3 innings at the end afterwards was big for the Dodgers because, again, they didn't have to use their high leverage bullpen guys in a loss. And that's having those long relievers who can do that for you. It's still not ideal to only have your starter go 5 innings, but Jack Dreyer saved the day a little bit. Dodgers battled back at the end and tried to win it. We'll like I said, we'll talk more about the offense in the second segment, but you can't really dance around the fact that giving up 5 earned runs in 5 innings is not great. But if you look at the details of it, it was a couple bad pitches, and not even like he gave up 2 home runs, and you'd think, oh, that's the 2 bad pitches that Jeff's talking about. And the home run to Marte wasn't a terrible pitch. I mean, Marte is a very, very good hitter. It was kind of like Freddie's triple the other night. Not the same thing, obviously, but that same concept of, if you're a pitcher, you could be like, I didn't make a bad pitch. That dude just went and got it. I just got beat there. And so I don't have issues with that. Also, it's a solo homer because he didn't hit the batter before. That was the big one. The grand slam was the big issue. That was one of the bad pitches, but the other one was hitting Eugenio Suarez on an 0-2 count to load the bases with no outs. And then he obviously, overall throughout the game, it was kind of an issue that he wasn't getting ahead of batters. Overall, 54 strikes out of 88 pitches, which is a little bit below his normal average, but first pitch strikes, it was just, he struggled to get ahead of hitters when he needed to. And hitting a guy on an 0-2 count, especially a guy like Suarez, who, yes, Eugenio Suarez is dangerous. He has 10 homers this year. He's also batting 197 and has a 287 on base percentage. He's not a good hitter. He's a power hitter, but he's not a good hitter. And so when you're there first and second, nobody out, you need a ground ball there. And I don't know if Yamamoto was trying to be too fine. I can't diagnose the reasons behind the bad pitch, but hitting him on an 0-2 count, that's a bad pitch. And that loaded the bases. And then he kind of backed himself into a corner, getting behind Moreno, and had to kind of come after him. And Moreno, like, it wasn't a blast. I haven't looked. I should have looked at this. Let's see. Moreno home run. It was hit hard, 105 miles an hour, but it went 377 feet is the point I'm getting at. Like, how many balls did the Dodgers hit today that were farther than 377 feet just off Brandon Pfaadt. And like I said, in the next time, I'm going to kind of talk about that. But the answer to that is they had 2 outs that were quite a bit farther than Moreno's grand slam. And it's just, it's where you hit it. It's, it's baseball. And I'm not saying anything about this doesn't count because you hit the ball over the fence with 3 runners on base. That's called a grand slam. That's the rules of baseball. And it wasn't a great pitch. But it wasn't. There's several alternate universes where Yamamoto pitches roughly the same and has significantly better results. I think most of the time, if he pitches like this, it would be fairly negative results, but not every time. And maybe more to the point, I'm gonna it's never fun to watch your ace struggle like this, to have a clunker. But I want to put that into perspective a little bit, just because, the perspective is important. And not to say it's a good thing. I won't say I'm glad that Yamamoto had a bad outing. But it's not terrible. It's one game. And the thing is, these happen to almost everybody. Like somebody in our insiders chat tonight during the game, they popped up a graphic of the best ERAs for the Dodgers through their first 25 starts. And so I'm surprised Fernando's not on there. And Fernando's rookie year in 1981, he made 25 starts. So basically it's the entire season. And his ERA was 2.48. And so very, very good, obviously. But in that 2.48 ERA, so we can all agree, Fernando Valenzuela in 1981 had a great, great season, right? He won the Cy Young Award. He won the Rookie of the Year Award. He deserved both of them. 2.48 ERA is absolutely outstanding. That season, Fernando, on May 28th, allowed 7 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings. On June 6th, allowed 7 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings. On August 16th, 5 earned runs in 5 innings, exactly what Yamamoto did today. May 18th, 4 earned runs. 5 different games, he allowed 4 earned runs. So my point is, Fernando had some clunkers that year. The reason they call it an earned run average is because it averages all out. And the way you have a great season, like a 2.48 ERA, like Fernando had in 1981, is by having a lot of really good games and some clunkers. It just happens. Clayton Kershaw, 2014, the year he won the MVP award, in this very same stadium, Chase Field, you remember, May 17th, 7 earned runs in an inning and 2/3. You guys, if you've been a Dodger fan since 2014, you remember that game of Clayton Kershaw just getting his butt kicked in Chase Field. It was one of his first games back after coming off the injured list. It was his 4th start of the season. The 3rd one after coming off the injured list, and he just got his butt kicked. And guess what? He finished that season with a 1.77 ERA and won the MVP award. So all of this is to say, yeah, tonight was lousy. No fun watching Yamamoto get knocked around a little bit. But when you take the fact that it was really mostly just a couple bad pitches that happened to come at the wrong time, and B, this doesn't mean anything in the long term. It's relatively easy for me to brush it aside and say, all right, put that one behind us, and we'll see what happens next time. I'm still very high on Yoshinobu Yamamoto because he is an excellent pitcher, and we saw last year after getting beat up, he then came back really, really good, and so that's what I expect from him coming up. Yeah, so I'm going to come back in a minute. And the other side of this coin was, while Yamamoto made a couple of bad pitches and got punished for it, the Dodgers hitters punished the ball and got no love for it. And, I'm not going to blame Chase Field because I'm going to wait until the Dodgers win a few games in a row there, and then I'll talk about what a dumb place it is. I don't know. It had fun with Wrigley Field. Maybe I'll try the Chase Field, but not tonight. But we are going to talk about the bad luck the Dodgers had. So thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. And please keep it Locked On Dodgers.
If you're a coffee enthusiast like myself, I drink way too much coffee every day. Firmly admit that, but it's because I love coffee, and I know a good cup of coffee when I see one, and you can get a great cup of coffee with Trade Coffee. They're the #1 coffee destination in the U.S. They do this great thing where they personalize your coffee for you. You take like this quiz where they ask you about taste and smell and what kind of roast that you have and what kind of roast that you prefer and all this other stuff. And they build the best coffee for you. In fact, I got this bag here called Common Voice Heirloom Blend. It's got notes of strawberry and fig and brown sugar, and it's been very tasty. And right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE.com/LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick. I mentioned before, I have become the best dad ever. I told my 2 teenage sons, did you know you could play Xbox on your Fire TV Stick? They didn't believe me, and turns out they're right, because we didn't have the 4K, but we do now because I ordered it, because I found out that you can play Xbox on your Fire Stick without needing a gaming console. It turns any TV into your gaming entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices, no console required. You just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Why does this matter to my sons when they already have an Xbox they can play on? Well, we are driving up to Idaho tomorrow for a baseball tournament, and we have the Fire TV Stick 4K now. We have Wi-Fi in our car. We have an HDMI port. We have TV screens. So they're already used to watching Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime TV, and all the other streaming services in the car. Now they can also play video games too. And all of this applies to you too. A Fire TV Stick can be an absolute game changer for your entertainment needs. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. And back. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being an everydayer. If you are, if you're not an everydayer, it's easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. You can make that easier, obviously, by subscribing wherever you're watching or listening right now. Also, you can go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Get text directly from us, talk one-on-one with us, and get access to our Discord server where we're talking Dodgers all the time. Like I said, we had that conversation about Fernando Valenzuela tonight. It's a lot of fun in there. So check that out. And for your second listen, be sure to check out Locked On MLB, hosted by our buddy Paul Francis Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully. So this this game was, I'll tell you how this game went. So Steven Nelson, he's my buddy. He's been on this show. He listens pretty regularly. And I love Steven Nelson as a person and as a broadcaster. I'm a big fan. I got a text from Steven Nelson tonight during the game. We weren't texting back and forth. I just randomly got a text from him. And it just said, Brandon Pfaadt's expected ERA has to be 1 million tonight. And that's the kind of game it was. And when you look at right now, I'm sorting just all the balls in play. There were 17 balls in play against Brandon Pfaadt by the Dodgers. 10 of them were hard hit. The 5 hardest hit, 110.9, 105.4, 105.2, 103.0, and 101.0. Those 5 turned into 5 outs. The expected batting average on those 5 outs, 860, 930, 540, 750, 610. 2 barrels in there. Like, it's almost impossible to hit the ball that hard that many times and have it turn into that many outs. In all, 7 of their 10 hard hit balls against Brandon Pfaadt turned into outs. They got 3 singles out of their 10 hard hit balls. Just remarkable. And like all of these, there was only one, like sometimes you look at, it was hard hit technically. And we have that with Shohei Ohtani's fly out in the 3rd inning. 96.8 miles an hour, technically hard hit, but 40-degree launch angle, only went 330 feet. So it had an expected batting average of 110. okay. The other 9 were all legitimate, like, yes, this should have been a hit, and only 3 of them were. It's just infuriating sometimes. And again, that is baseball. Unfortunately, that's how things work. They just, like Richard says in the chat, Dodgers smoked the ball and found gloves. It was just one of those games. And it's easy to be mad about it. And I know that people don't love Michael Conforto. And I know that it's my fault. After just yesterday, I said it had been a week since Conforto hit into double play. He hit into double play tonight in a pretty key situation. But his other 2 balls in play, 101 miles an hour, 610 expected batting average, fly out. 110.9 miles an hour, 860 expected batting average, line out. Michael Conforto hit the ball really well tonight. The double play, it was hard hit, 95.2, but only an expected batting average of 280. Yeah, that one, not ideal. And like I've said many times, I think Conforto's issue is launch angle right now, because the double play, -1 degree launch angle. He hit it on the ground. The other 2, even though they turned into outs, I will absolutely take every single time. Give me a line drive with an 860 expected batting average. Give me that every time, because you know what? That means you will get a hit 86% of the time. Hashtag math. That's what an 860 expected batting average means. It means that looking at the history of baseball, I don't know how far back they go, the pitch tracking, when you hit a ball, that exit velocity, that launch angle, 110.9 miles an hour, 9-degree launch angle, 86% of the time, that's a hit. Keep doing that, Michael Conforto. And, and that's what we've seen a lot of. And that's why I've been down on Conforto a lot, but the last couple of weeks, week and a half or so, we've seen he is hitting the ball better, definitely hitting it harder. And Steven mentioned on the broadcast yesterday, our buddy Jeff Spiegel had put out a list of Conforto's last 15 balls in play or something, and how many of them were hard hit. And when Steven mentioned that on the broadcast yesterday, Eric Karros said, well, that tells you now he needs to figure out the launch angle. He needs to hit it at the right launch angle. Sorry, I tried to think of another phrase for that, and there's not one. So we'll just say launch angle again. A hard ground ball is still going to turn into out a lot of the time. A hard line drive, even though both of his really well hit balls tonight turn into outs, most of the time they won't. And so if Conforto keeps doing this, he will break out of a slump. Yes, he will still occasionally hit into a double play. It will still be frustrating, but tonight's wouldn't have been as frustrating if both of those, his first 2 at-bats, had both turned into doubles like they should have instead of outs. And so, and you can make that case up and down. Obviously, Hae-Sung Kim had a rough night. And, coming up from the minors, even after spring training, the main reason that Kim started in the minor leagues was his swing selection was not great. He chose to swing at some bad pitches, and we hadn't seen that version of Kim in the big leagues yet until tonight. We've seen it some in Oklahoma City. His strikeout rate was actually pretty high in Oklahoma City. One of the things that we've really enjoyed the last few days about Kim is him putting the bat on the ball and making things happen with his legs, the excitement and, just blooping in hits and stuff. That's the version of Hae-Sung Kim that we need. The version we got tonight was that bad version that chases bad pitches. And that doesn't mean that's who he is any more than the last couple of games mean that that's who he is. He's some combination of those things. And overall, really, he's only had these 3 at-bats now in his time in the big leagues where he's looked terrible. He might have had, maybe one other one, but, for the most part, he's still looked pretty good. Tonight, he did not. And so I'm interested to see how he bounces back. Obviously, it could just be something that he doesn't see Brandon Pfaadt well, or Brandon Pfaadt's pitch selection was just right in Hae-Sung Kim's getting fooled wheelhouse, or whatever it is. That's why you can never draw any conclusions from one game, but you can say, yeah, that was a bad game for Hae-Sung Kim. James Outman, unfortunately, he hit a ball. I think it was Richard earlier who said, now I can't find it, that Outman hit the ball 100 and, there it is. Outman got his hit 411 feet and was just a long out. That's the game in a nutshell. And yeah, I mean, when you hit the ball 411 feet, you expect to hit a home run, because in 21 of 30 ballparks, it was 408 feet according to StatCast. In 21 out of 30 ballparks, that would have been a home run. Unfortunately, they were playing at Chase Field, one of the 9 that it's not a home run. Dodger Stadium, they showed on the broadcast, the overlay, it would have cleared the wall by 20 feet at Dodger Stadium. Like, it would have been a no-doubter at Dodger Stadium. And, it wasn't here. And again, that's baseball. It's no fun at all. But when you look at Outman tonight, yes, he basically, if that ball's a home run like it should have been, he had the 3 true outcomes again tonight: a walk, a homer, and a strikeout. Instead, it was a walk, a flyout, and a strikeout. And you know what? That happens sometimes. Outman is still going to be a work in progress. We'll have to see how his contact skills improve. There's just so many things about this game that you look at, and Muncy got 2 hits, even though none of Muncy's balls were hit as well as Conforto's 2 balls. And yet Muncy ended up with 2 hits. And, they rallied late. They scored 3 runs. Ohtani hit a home run. A lot of good you could take. And if Yamamoto hadn't given up that grand slam, maybe the Dodgers win this game 3-1. Instead, they lose 5-3, and you're glad that they play 162. This is one of those games where you're just glad, all right, there's another one tomorrow. And they got 3 more in Arizona, where hopefully maybe this luck can reverse. So maybe tomorrow it's the D-backs that hit the ball hard and that find gloves. And it's the Dodgers that, take advantage of a couple bad pitches and get the big hits. We'll see, because that's how baseball is. But that's all I'm going to talk about this game, because when I come back, I'm going to talk about Michael Kopech, who we're all excited to see Michael Kopech back. We're not super excited to see today's version of Michael Kopech back. So please keep it locked on Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Like I said last night, if you are a Dodger fan, there's a decent chance that your favorite NBA team is no longer in the playoffs, which means, while you may not have a rooting interest, you can have a betting interest. So maybe you just put your basketball smarts to work. You have a hunch on who's going to heat up, back it up with a same game parlay. You want to combine live prop bets mid-game based on how the action unfolds, you can do that. And how, maybe $200 in bonus bets might add to the excitement if your first $5 bet hits. I think it might. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you will get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Hey, I'm back. Thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being every dayer. Thanks for being here with me live. If you are, remember to go beyond the podcast, become a Locked On Dodgers insider, all that good stuff. Check it all out. And Michael Kopech, he's eligible to come off the injured list the same time as Clayton Kershaw, which is either May 17th or 18th, depending on who you believe. One of those days, Dave Roberts did say Kopech is likely to make about 6 rehab appearances. So starting 10 days before he's eligible to come off, probably means he wouldn't come off right when he's eligible. But, sometime in the next couple of weeks, the Dodgers are expecting Kopech to be back. So it was exciting. This first rehab appearance for him. He started the game for Oklahoma City. It did not go well. He faced 5 batters. He threw 23 pitches. He threw 3 strikes. He walked all 5 batters that he faced. All 5 eventually came around to score. So his line for the night was 0 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. It's not great. The good news is it's a rehab start. It's one game, however you want to call it. One of the main points of what they're doing with rehab is getting his arm ready to go. Obviously, it would have been nice if he had thrown strikes. I'm not going to say it wouldn't have been. But, coming off injury, a dynamic pitcher like that, I imagine the mechanics take a little bit longer to get in place. And, if he's still not throwing any strikes a week from now, I'll probably be concerned, or at least recognize, yeah, he's not coming off the injured list as soon as we thought he might. I do remember, seems like it was, when was that? It was September last year. Do you remember when he just had that Michael Kopech game? It was against the Cubs, and he came in and he walked 3 guys and ended up getting the save, but he walked 3 guys, gave up a run, and then got out of it. Kopech has a history, at least somewhat, of being a little bit erratic. 2023 with the White Sox, 6.3 walks per 9 innings. I prefer walk rate, I guess. His walk rate that year, 15.4%. Even last year, it was 12.2% overall, 11.4% with the Dodgers. So it was better with the Dodgers, but 11.4% is still, it's high. And so that's part of Kopech's game, that he does walk too many guys. And so it's easy for me to kind of look at it and think, yeah, a guy who walks too many guys and is coming off injury might have struggled with command in that first rehab appearance. And so, you know what, we'll be looking for improvement. The good news is it's only up from here, I guess. I think so. It actually, it felt like some of these games my son's playing the City League where just a pitcher who can't throw any strikes. Although the pitchers who can't throw strikes in my son's league usually aren't throwing the balls 98 miles an hour. But it was less than ideal for us as we're sitting here, like counting the days for Kopech to come back, because then, he can replace one of the lesser relievers on the roster. You're counting the days for Kershaw to come back, because then at least they have a starter. They don't have to go to spot starters or piggybacks or whatever. We're kind of counting on these guys to come back. We'll find out more tomorrow, because Glasnow and Snell are both going to be playing catch. We'll start to get a feel for when we might think they're coming back. All of these things, when you're hoping for Michael Kopech to come back soon and be dominant. Yeah, it was a little deflating. I'm not going to lie. I was excited to watch this, and it wasn't fun to watch. And I'm still excited for Michael Kopech to come back, because I don't believe that he just doesn't know how to throw strikes anymore. I believe he struggled to throw strikes today. And so, that's something. It might mean that his rehab's going to take a little bit longer than they thought. It might not. Maybe next time he comes out and, all right, I made that mechanical adjustment and now I'm good there. And so now we can get back to just regular rehab. We'll have to see. The good news is when it's a reliever, you don't have to wait as long. When it's a starter who has a bad rehab appearance, it's like, now we got to wait 5 or 6 days to see how he does the next time. Kopech will be back out there, a couple days from now, and we'll see him again and see if things look any better. And we'll just keep an eye on that, because I do believe that Michael Kopech is going to be a key part of this Dodgers bullpen this year. His stuff is too dynamic, and we saw it in action last year. And the fact is, this guy, he sacrificed. He put a lot on the line for the Dodgers to win the World Series last year. He pitched hurt last year. And, we as fans owe him appreciation and patience because of that. It's in a perfect world, everything would be just fine. He'd be great and he'd be healthy. This ain't the perfect world. And the reason he's not healthy is because he said, I am doing whatever we need to win this World Series last year. And we as fans absolutely appreciate that. So that's my thoughts on Michael Kopech. Other stuff here, we've got 4 games, 3 more games against the D-backs here in Arizona. D-backs are a solid team. I think they're a little bit better than their record shows. I think the Dodgers are clearly a better team, and they're going to get Corbin Burns in one of these games. The Dodgers have always had some issues against Brandon Pfaadt, which is always interesting. Tomorrow they face Eduardo Rodriguez, who they haven't had as many issues with, and he has been pretty bad this year. So that one will be interesting to see. And then I believe it's Burns on. Is it Burns on Saturday? Corbin Burns on Saturday, who, again, he's the guy the Dodgers have got to. I watched them beat him in person last year, September, whenever it was, when he was with the Orioles. Shohei Ohtani homered off him in the first inning. I was sitting right behind home plate. It was a fun one. So Dodgers can get to Burns, and then the last game of the series they will be facing Zach Gallen, who, again, a guy who is talented, got a 4.37 ERA this year. He's not the same Zach Gallen he's been in the past. And so the Dodgers offense has the potential to win this series. It just means win the next 3 games. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's fun playing the D-backs. The D-backs get up for these games. I don't enjoy watching games at Chase Field, but that's more about the stadium than anything else. And I'd rather watch them on TV than be there in person at that particular stadium. But in general, it's fun watching the Dodgers play, even when they lose, even though this one was a lot less fun because it was frustrating. It reminded us that this sport that we love so much is stupid sometimes. And you know what? That's part of what we love about it. Sometimes the stupid works in our favor. Sometimes a center fielder who hasn't made an error all year drops an easy ball in center field and it leads to 5 runs and the Dodgers winning the World Series. Sometimes the stupid works in our favor. And tonight it did not. Tomorrow's another day, as they say on Gone with the Wind and or UHF. They say it in both places. So tomorrow is another day, and we will play the D-backs again. Not we, us. We would lose. I promise you, all of you in the chat, even though there's currently 26 of you still live with me, even if all 27 of us went up against the D-backs, we would lose. We're not going to play well at all. I doubt we'd get a single hit off Eduardo Rodriguez. But the Dodgers, they're going to beat Eduardo Rodriguez, and then they're probably going to beat Corbin Burns, and they're probably going to beat Zach Gallen, and the Dodgers are going to win this series. Either way, it'll be fun to watch, and we will be back on Sunday evening. Vince should be with me. He is traveling. He's in Cleveland tonight. He's catching a game in Cleveland tomorrow, but I think Sunday night we'll be able to be together. As he mentioned last night, over the next week or so, we will be kind of playing it by ear on when we're together and when I'm solo, but one way or another, we will be with you every weekday morning or the night before every weekday morning if you like being with us live. And so thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping me company. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching and listen right now so you can be an everydayer, and everydayer is just someone who watches or listens every day. It's real easy. It's right there in the name. You can also check out Locked On MLB Game Night. It's a recap show going around the league with thoughts from the Locked On hosts from every team. You can catch that on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at VinceSince91. I'm on Twitter at Snydog, and both of our DMs are open there. You can also email us, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or send us a voicemail or a text message to 323-863-LOCK-5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We'll talk to you on Sunday night.